Welcome to our channel. Today we're going deep into the wild of misinformation. We're debunking 12 common survival myths that could actually be dangerous. These are the kind of mistakes that can cost you dearly when you're in a high-pressure situation. We're talking about real-deal life-or-death scenarios where knowing the right move is crucial. Stay tuned to learn the right way to handle these situations and make sure you're prepared for anything. Out in the wild, your vision is crucial. Now, if you get a speck of dust or an eyelash in your eye, you might be tempted to rub it out. That's a natural instinct, but sometimes it's the wrong one. If it's something more serious, like a shard of glass or metal, don't even think about touching it. You could do some serious damage. The last thing you want is to be stranded out here with blurred vision or worse. Trust me, I've been there. So here's the deal. If it's just an eyelash, wash your hands thoroughly, then try blinking a few times to let your natural tears flush it out. But if it's something sharp, or you're just not sure, get to a doctor. Don't mess around with your eyesight. We've all seen it in the movies. Someone gets a cut, slaps some butter on it and walks it off. Let me tell you, that's Hollywood magic, not real-life first aid. In the wild, you need to treat every wound with respect. Forget the butter and sour cream. Those old wives' tales will do you more harm than good. The best thing you can do for a cut or scrape is to clean it thoroughly with soap and water. Once it's clean, keep it dry and covered with a clean bandage. This prevents infection, which is your biggest enemy out here. Remember, a small cut can turn nasty real quick if you don't treat it right. Fevers are a pain, literally. And when you're burning up, it's tempting to try anything to break the heat, but rubbing alcohol or vinegar on your skin? That's a recipe for disaster, not a cure. These old-school methods can actually be dangerous, especially for kids. Alcohol on the skin can lead to alcohol poisoning, believe it or not. And vinegar? It messes with the body's natural pH balance, which you don't want. The best way to deal with a fever is to stay hydrated, rest up, and let your body fight it off. If the fever is really high or doesn't go down, that's when you seek medical help. Chapter 4, someone faints. Don't lift them up. Someone collapses next to you. Your instinct might be to get them on their feet, but hold on. Lifting a fainted person up can actually do more harm than good. It can worsen a spasm or even cut off blood flow. Instead, focus on getting them stable. Lift their legs up to improve blood flow to the brain. Loosen any tight clothing and let them come around gradually. Once they're conscious, don't reach for the coffee or energy drinks. They need water and rest, not a jolt to the system. Chapter 5. Burns. Cool it down. Burns are a serious matter, whether it's from a campfire gone wrong or a nasty sunburn. And the old myth of slathering butter on a burn, that's a recipe for disaster. Butter, sour cream, all that stuff does is trap heat and create a breeding ground for bacteria. The last thing you want is an infection on top of a burn. Here's the right move. Cool the burn immediately with cool, not ice cold, running water. Keep it under the water for at least 15 minutes. This helps to minimize the damage and ease the pain. After that, cover it with a sterile bandage and seek medical attention. Chapter 6. Don't play doctor with broken bones. We've all seen those action heroes pop a dislocated shoulder back into place. Trust me, it's not as easy as it looks. Trying to set a bone yourself is a recipe for disaster. You could cause more damage, tear ligaments, or even sever a nerve. Not a good look, especially when you're miles from help. The best thing to do is immobilize the injured limb using a splint or sling. Then find a way to get to professional medical help as soon as possible. Sprains are painful, and your instinct might be to apply heat to soothe the ache. But hold on, heat can actually make the swelling worse. Heat increases blood flow to the area, which, while good for some injuries, is the opposite of what you want with a sprain. Instead, reach for the ice pack. Cold helps to reduce inflammation and numbs the pain. Apply ice for 20 minutes at a time with breaks in between for the first 48 hours after the injury. And remember, ice rest, ice compression, elevation. Okay, this one's crucial. If you think you've been poisoned, your first thought might be to make yourself throw up. But hold on, that's not always the right call. Forcing yourself to vomit can actually cause more harm than good. It can damage your esophagus, and if the poison is corrosive, Vomiting just brings it up again, causing more burns. The best thing to do is call poison control immediately. They'll be able to give you the most accurate advice based on what you ingested. Keep a sample of the poison or the container handy so you can give them as much information as possible. We all want to be heroes, but rescuing a drowning person is more complicated than it seems. You might think you can just swim out and grab them, but a panicked person in the water can be incredibly dangerous. They might accidentally pull you under in their struggle to stay afloat. That's why the best approach is from behind. Get a firm grip on them under the armpits or by the chin and tow them back to safety, keeping their head above water. Remember, your safety comes first. If you're not a strong swimmer or don't feel comfortable, it's best to call for help and try to throw them a flotation device if possible. Chapter 10. Don't be a human pincushion. This one's simple. If you get impaled by something, don't pull it out. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but that object might actually be preventing you from bleeding out. Trying to remove it yourself could cause more damage and lead to uncontrollable bleeding. Your best bet is to control the bleeding around the object using direct pressure and elevation. Then, secure the object in place using bulky dressings or clothing. This will help to stabilize it and prevent further injury, and of course, get to a hospital as soon as possible. Chapter 11. Bruises. Ice with care. So, you've taken a tumble and earned yourself a shiner. Ice is your friend, right? Well, yes, but you need to be careful. Applying ice directly to bare skin can cause frostbite, which is the last thing you need on top of a bruise. Always wrap that ice pack in a thin towel or cloth before applying it to your skin. This will help to protect your skin while still allowing the cold to penetrate and reduce swelling. Apply for 20 minutes on, 20 minutes off, and you'll be feeling better in no time. Chapter 12. Closing cuts. The modern way. Forget the needle and thread. There's a much easier and less painful way to close minor cuts these days. Skin glue. It's quick, painless, and effective. First, make sure the wound is clean and dry. Then apply gentle pressure to stop any bleeding. Once the bleeding's under control, carefully align the edges of the wound and apply the skin glue along the cut. Hold the edges together for a minute or two to allow the glue to set. It's like magic, but remember, skin glue is for superficial cuts only. If the wound is deep, gaping, or spurting blood, you need to seek medical attention immediately. Outro, stay safe out there. So there you have it, 12 survival myths busted. Remember, knowledge is power, especially when it comes to your safety. Knowing the right thing to do in a critical situation can make all the difference. Don't fall for these common misconceptions. They could cost you precious time, or worse. Stay informed, stay prepared, and stay safe out there. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more life-saving tips. Stay safe out there.